Hey guys, it's Chris Texera. Let's play another game of the Seafarers of Catan on Catan Universe. Now, something interesting is going on here. I am not actually playing. I recorded this game a couple days ago, and the audio wasn't working when I finished it. So I figured instead of scrapping the game, I like to upload everything. I figured instead of uploading it without audio, why don't I commentate on what's actually going on now that I know the outcome? I thought that would actually be kind of an interesting thing to do here. Since again, it's kind of unusual. I don't usually do that, right? So, to review, this is Through the Desert. Through the Desert, I think actually might be one of my favorite ones for a couple of reasons. One, it kind of lets you do literally that, right? Through the desert. You can either go up to that 1254 wheat spot up there at the top, or you go to one of the three different islands, right? And I think that's really useful, right? Because then you can actually choose between sailing and not sailing. So this first two spots here, like that 8 and 9, I don't agree with the 8, the 6 9, excuse me. I'm not crazy about the 6 9 there. Not because it gets you close to the islands, but there's no port. And I think you really want a port here. I think if you were going to take a port, why not go for the 8-10 port at the bottom? Now that 5-8-4, I actually think that's pretty okay. There's enough wood though. With that brick port, that's one of those where it actually could be pretty useful going for that brick port on this map. So certainly think that's certainly a possibility there for the gray player. But I just look at the diversity, right? I mean, look, they're right next to it. There's the 8-9-4, which honestly I think is a little bit better because ore is at a premium on this board, right? And that ore kind of matters. Now for us, a couple of options here, right? And I was kind of struggling in the actual commentary or in the actual gameplay with what to do here, because it wasn't necessarily obvious. Obviously, there's that double 10s, the 2-10 woods, that 10-6-11 spot, that one wheat. Wheat is valuable. Again, it's rare on this board. So's brick, so's the ore. So it's like, what do we want to do? How do we want to go get all the resources? Because we're in a bit of a bind, right? Either, where we're looking at, we either get 4 of the resources, but not all of them, right? And we can either punt brick, punt sheep, punt ore. Either way, if we do that kind of 2 and 2, two settlements around that 11, we're gonna get both things, but we're gonna miss something. So let's see. What do we actually decide to do? See, I really struggle with it too. And then there's the idea of that port as well. All right, so I actually wound up going for the port here. Now, why did I do that? I went for that one because I do get to select twice, right? It does get me the ship. And I figure in my position, I was worried about somebody either taking that sheep port, which I think was a real possibility, or taking that 8-10 at the bottom. And I figured this was the best way. This way, I double up my wood. I get a good sheep so I can start sailing. I open up that middle of the board. Now, I don't get an ore, but one of the reasons why I figured it was okay to punt it is because there is that ore on the island, right? That island ore on that 8-5 island. That could be pretty useful for us to get to. So, seemed like a pretty good idea at the time. Whether it happens that way, we'll see in the game. Let's keep looking here. So who's looking? All right, purple. Now purple is in an interesting spot here. So if I was doing this, I think I probably would have taken the 10-11-8 or the 10-5-3 if I were them. Yeah, I think if I was purple, I think I actually go with the... I think I would have done the reverse, actually. I think I would have taken the 10-11-8. Now, why would I have taken the 10-11-8? One, it prevents that, which you just saw. Prevents that 8-10 going on. It gets you the wheat. It also, because now you can't double up on the 8 ore. and he has access to the wheat port, but it's not as good, right? Now, he could have had access to the wood port, but again, that's not useful. He does get access to the 3-for-1 port where he is, which is something. But if you are on that 11, 8, 10, you get all the resources. Yeah, wheat's still a bit rare, but it's a lot less likely someone goes and poaches your spot there. And then blue just ruins Gray's game here by just going straight for that brick port, which is pretty cruel. You got to admit, especially, you know, whenever anybody does this double harbor game, you always got to wonder a little bit. I've seen it work. It's not impossible, but it's tough because what does he do here, right? He's on 3 numbers, right? 6, 8, 9. Now, those are good numbers to be on for sure. But there's no wheat. That's a big problem. He's got no ore. That's a big problem. He gets a 9 here. He gets those sheep. It's very useful for him. But again, it's going to take him out. It's slow. And that's usually what happens on these 2 harbor setups. They're slow. Relying on that brick port. Again, it's not a bad idea if you can go fast enough. Like if he gets a bunch of, you know, wood and sheep here and then gets like, I don't know, 3 8s in a row, he can get that 6-9 gold mine, 6 sheep spot pretty quickly. Unfortunately, the problem is, even if he gets that, he's still only on 3 numbers. So he's really number limited, which could be a bit of a problem. Right, there's a 7 rolled. Now, let's see where they place it here. I don't remember. Let's see. Where does this go? I always find it interesting how often people forget about the ship robber, the pirate. The ship robber, I think, honestly, is probably the most underutilized part of Seafarers, which is weird, right? So they do actually place it, which is good. Now, interesting, I actually don't think that was the right thing to do. I really don't. I think you go at them, right? Because, you know, now look. So in this instance, right, they move the pirate ship to where blue wants it. Whereas if you had taken the regular robber and put it on, say, I don't know, the 8 ore, right? Well, they're probably going to go use their 7 to move it, right? As now you kind of incentivize them to just move the ship, which kind of screws you over because now you can't get to that 6-9 nearly as quickly. So I think that was a big blunder there by the blue player. Playing that 7. Again, I think you just go straight for the ore there. Because why not? Go for the 8, go for the 4, go for the 10, something, right? Otherwise, it's just kind of like, now it's going to be parked up there. Yeah, now he gets it twice. Ouch. Whereas maybe there's a little bit of give and take with that pirate ship. Now, you'll notice we decided to expand over this 3 gold mine. Now, why did I do that? I figured there was going to be a chance. One, the 3 can be very useful, right? Just because it's a 3 or an 11 doesn't mean it's not going to get rolled. 3s can be extremely useful. I figure, let me go get that randomness factor where I can maybe get some ore or some wheat. That's really what I want from it, right? It's that extra little bit of wheat maybe I can use. The other thing it does, it gives me a jump off point to get to the 8 ore, right? Which, let's face it, we need to get to if we're going to survive. Now, what just happened there, Gray going down, is actually a pretty big deal for us because that keeps the top part of that island open, right? Gray pointing down there and going to the 8-5 spot, it's very helpful because it allows us to have a route to that island. Whereas otherwise, if he had just built the settle right on that corner, Well, we've got to go expand more resources to get to that other side of the 8. And potentially he could shut off the 8. He still might, right? But, by the way, I think he did the right thing going for that 8-5 because, again, that production's really good. But it does help us because not everyone in that situation is going to do what he did. Some of them might just stop at that 8, build the settle, and then just expand up to the 3 and try to take the 3 gold mine before we get there, right? Or just take it to get those extra 2 victory points, because you get 2 extra victory points if you get to the desert or on any of the islands, right? So pretty useful. So let's see here. Doing a trade, couldn't get the trade there. Yeah, so far there hasn't been a single 10, as you could see, which I'm sure Game Me is annoyed because we'd love some wood. I mean, we have double resources on that 10, so the fact that we're not getting it, I'm sure is annoying me to no end when I was playing this. The 6 there, okay, yeah, 6 is good, get the sheeps. And again, the sheep, again, has its value, right? Because again, we have that sheep port. Oh, we should accept this. Accept it, me. I did accept it. Good. And we did. Okay. Yeah. See, I like to think that me playing this game at this time did the right thing, because we don't always... Oh, accept that too. Yeah, that's a great deal. Look at Gray. Gray's just giving us all the great things. All that for a settle. Wow. But you know, to them, it's probably worth it, right? I mean, they get the 8-5, they get the extra 2 victory points, they get that great production. And just looking at the board, how it's starting here, I mean, Gray's in a pretty good spot, right? No, but Gray's got a problem. Of course, Gray has no sheep, they have no wheat. So that's their biggest issue. They do have a 3-for-1 port, though, which could really be a bit of a game changer. All right, we're there. We finally get to another island. We're tied for the lead at this point. But let's face it, would you rather have my setup or would you rather have Gray's setup? It's an interesting question. I think I would have preferred Gray's setup in this situation. If we were to start the game right now, which setup do you take? I think I would have taken Gray's over mine. Just because those 8s, yeah, that. Because you can use that, start trading, get what you need. And maybe you could do something like get up to that 6-4-2, maybe get up to the 3. Because I think if you're Gray, I think you go island hunting. I think you go up to the 3, and then go up to the 9 if possible. Now, again, it's kind of like I would take their setup for the production. What I wouldn't take it for is access to the different spots, right? Another 8. Sheesh. So many 8s. So many 8s. So many 8s. Man, you know, there's another game I played over the weekend. I think you guys would have seen it over the weekend, where I swear there were so many 8s. If 8s hadn't rolled that much, maybe we would have won that game. But I always get a little frustrated when you get a big imbalance. Like, this isn't horrible just yet. That other game was ridiculous. It was like 15 8s, like 6 of everything else. It's a little crazy. Another 8. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I'm like, ooh, that's pretty envious. He's got 15 cards. I mean, that's pretty nice. And he gets a 4 with the brick. Yeah, because I think he needs to get that 3-for-1. Oh, not 3-for-1 port. But see, here, I don't necessarily agree with this. Like, what good... Okay, what good does that 3-for-1 port do you? Like, because you already have 3-for-1 port. Like, I don't agree with that. You built what, 2 roads? Like, if you want to build roads, you're in such a good position to build roads. Why not build roads through the middle here? Get to this 6-2-4 as an example, right? Or why not take it, you know, double up on the 8s or go to this 3? Like, the fact that he just doubles up on the brick, it doesn't do him that much, right? Like, I think the ore is more valuable. I mean, again, unless he wants to make a run at the roads, it's like, I would just take those 8s over, because again, then any ore you roll is or any 8 that's rolled is 3 ore, right? As opposed to having to divide it between bricks and ore. Well, just take all the ore. Maybe you can get a city, which is really what he needs to kind of get cracking. So more brick here. And now you see we started expanding up there. Go up to this 6 wheat desert spot. So we're starting to eye maybe some more fuel for that sheep port. In addition, this is also giving us access to that to the desert, right? Which is what we're looking for. Get to the desert. Right, Gray. See, now here you go. Gray's building a big old road. I get what they're doing there. I do. Ultimately, I just don't think that's the right allocation of resources. Like, you know, Gray's problem in this is diversification, right? Like, I think I would cede that 5 spot to purple. Gets purple 3 points if they build a settle there. That's one thing. But again, I think that they need to go up to the 3, because at least then they can get anything on that 3. They could still get the road, right? Oh, we'll take the gold here. And what do we want here? I think we take the sheep. Man, I think I would have taken the ore. Oh, I see what we did. Yeah, all right. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Would I have done that though? See, I don't know. Maybe I would have done that a little differently if I was doing it again. I think in that situation, I understand why I did that. So one of the reasons why is I want to make myself a little less threatening, but I don't think it really matters. Oh, it did matter. Oh, okay. Yeah, because here's the thing. I think if we build a city there, I think we get targeted. I do. Because then we got a 6, 10, 11 city. Now we still have most of the ingredients for the city, but odds are the gray guy gets targeted again. So I do think that was a bit of a distraction tactic on our part. Yeah, and by the way, this 5 block, why? Like, what is that? That doesn't do any good. Why not block the 8 brick? He's getting double of that anyway, right? I don't know what good the 5 block does you. It seems like one of those silly blocks to me. Very, very silly. Or the other thing that they could have done is maybe just move the ship robber, right? Like, which people, again, they forget about the damn ship robber. Move the ship. I mean, blue doesn't need it, right? What's blue going to do? Go back to that 6? They've already made their decision. I think you put that between my 3 and that 8, those 2 islands on the coast there, so you stop gray from going north, right? Because again, that's what I'd do. I'd go north as opposed to building a bunch of roads around the island. You know, it doesn't help. Doesn't help. He's got a bunch of roads. Like, what good does that do? So he's got a lead, but again, it's like so meh. It's just not that threatening, which is weird to say, because again, he's got so many cards, and he doesn't have any victory points, nothing like that. Really hasn't been a lot of card buying yet either. More wood, so you blocked him from 1 more wood. Whoop-de-doo. Two for 1. He's desperate for that wheat. Yeah, we're not going to give it to him because again, why would we? Wheat is rare. We're all about keeping it. I would have done that if that 1 sheep was available. I think I would have done that. Get those 2 wood. That would have been nice. But you know, that's because 10's rolled like barely at all in this game. Which again just annoys me so much. When you're like, all right, we got all these nice resources, and then they never roll with a shit. Hey, there it is. Speak of the devil. Get that wood. And I think what will we do with that? I think we head up to that 512. I think that's where we go. We need wheat, right? That little extra bit of ore is useful. Now there was an argument to maybe go to the 624 spot. I could see that. But ultimately, I think wheat's the more important thing. And the other side of it too is we get the 2 extra victory points going on the 512. And with the way this is going, you know, we might not get that city anytime soon. So probably worth it. No, let's see what they do. Yeah, a lot of 8s, not a lot of 6s. That lack of 6s has not been helping us here. And oh, is he gonna build settle? I honestly don't even remember. Let's see what he does. Does he build a settle? I think he probably has it. Oh, maybe he doesn't have it. Let's see. I honestly don't remember. It's funny, like I don't usually pay attention to what other people are doing. I usually pay more attention to what I'm doing, right? Well, I do in game, but I don't really remember it. Another 8 here. Now, Gray's got 12 cards. These 8s are insane. Just insane. I would love to get this war. So we're kind of desperate for it at this point, just to get the city. So I do think maybe I made a mistake there. Now, again, I think I would have expected us to have a 6 rolled at some point. So yeah, instead I built the road here just to get under 7, which I think is the right play there. Get that road. There's a 4, another break. So that's certainly good. It's another road for us. Gray's got 13 cards. Again, they're like a card machine. They just can't do anything with it. Because what they need to build up. That's their problem, and they're not building up. They're wasting their time with roads. All right, blue is now at 8, so they're on 2 settles, but blue is a similar problem. Another blocked wood there for gray. So let's see, what do? They wind up plowing purple. They do. Okay, yeah, and you know. I actually do agree with that spot if you're going to plow them, because otherwise purple could always maybe sneak around the back. Unlikely. But in essence, I really don't agree with any of what Gray has done on this island other than going to that 8-5 spot. Because, yeah, now what? He needs cities. His 5 is blocked, which is goofy. He needs cities. So he needs wheat big time. No one's going to give it to him. And his only real access is either the 3 wheat, which is basically blocked now because that road, or that 3 gold mine. So, yeah, we'll see. All right. Do we get something good? We don't. I was really hoping. And again, we build a road. I don't think that's a question. Yeah. And let's see. All right, we do try to trade for it. I think that's the right play. I don't think anyone gives it to us because I think, again, it's just available. There's so much brick available on the board. It's like, just not a great offer. We need something better to offer, like, I don't know, sheep or something. More brick, great. More stuff that everybody has. See, this is why we're like really waiting for this damn 6 to roll. It just has not rolled. And there's all the sheeps. Ay. Yeah, blue there. Again, there's a lot of flaws here because blue only has 4 resources or four settlements. At least they're finally starting to get some rolls. That 9 hadn't really been rolling for them, but now it is. So that helps. 11, there you go. It's a big roll for us. We love any 11s we can get. We'll take. We're very fortunate so far with 5 11s, right? Amazingly, there's been 5 11s and 2 6s. Like, sheesh. That is a lot of bad luck on the 6s. And look at what Gray did too. You know, I didn't commentate on, but Gray going up to that 6-2-4. So again, I think he did this backwards because that's great. He's going to the 6-2-4. Congratulations. But you need a city first. Right? You need a city first, and he's just not there. So I do think he did this a bit backwards. I think I would have gone, if you wanted to go that route, I think I would have gone to the 6-2-4 first and not worried about that 5 settlement at the bottom because it doesn't do any good. All right, us desperately trying to unload this brick again. We just have no luck with this. So we're just kind of in a bad place. Now the wheat is an option. And that will actually work if we accept this. It's costly, but it does get us what we want, which is that city. So it is interesting. This whole time I was expecting that the 6 would have rolled between that time where we had the option to build a city and not, and it didn't. So we actually cost ourselves quite a lot of resources not building that 6, 10, 11. And ultimately, I think if I had a choice to do it over, I think I would have. I was a little too worried at the time that we were going to get robbed by other people, but purple I think is just too threatening looking, even though I just don't think they look that threatening. Because again, they're stuck with the dreaded 5 settlement trap, where okay, you got 5 settlements, but you got no cities. Even though they're in good position, they're missing 2 resources. That's tough. That's a tough thing to come back from. Because you got to trade for it. You got to do a bunch of 3-for-1 trades or trades with everybody else. Nobody wants to give you any wheat because, again, you're scary looking. You're at 9 points. So yeah, I think if I had a choice, I probably would have redone that. That extra wheat alone that 11 would have generated probably would have been worth it. But the good news now, at least now we have three spots on that 6 sheep. So we get a 6 roll, we can get a wheat and a sheep, right? Two sheeps for the wheat, do that trade, and you get the sheepy. That's a free settle. And there we go. I think that's what we're going to do here. I don't think there's much of a question that we do that. Yeah. Not a surprise. Build the settle, and we're in great shape all of a sudden. Because now we've got a few things we need, right? Now we've got ourselves, oh, that's even better. We get that wheat. We're in great position. We're at 10 points. We've taken over the lead, which is nice. We're not threatening for the longest road at all, but we have kind of an ace in the hole, which I think I just mentioned in the game there, is that 8 ore spot, which again, our great player has left open for us, which is really useful because if we can get down to that 8 spot, that's another 3 points, right? That's basically the game. And blue has had really little luck getting out of their little island prison. And again, that's the problem. They just weren't getting other resources, right? They got a bunch of bricks, but the 6s weren't rolling for them. That really cost them. And the 9s weren't rolling until recently. So blue's game has been completely shut down because the only thing they've been getting every single turn is brick, right? It just wasn't that helpful. So now blue's kind of in a desperate spot. They're trying to go west, head over to the desert, which I think makes sense. And purple here too. I think this is a mistake. What good does this do you? Like purple has got to go up. Because now purple is in a spot where, yeah, great, he gets 4 wheat. But what good does 4 wheat do as opposed to 3 wheat? Doesn't do you like it, right? It just doesn't. Take the 2 extra points at the top there, especially since he got plowed at the 5 wood in the bottom. Yeah, and we built our 2 ships, right? So we're feeling pretty good about ourselves. We get a 6, which is huge. Love that. All we need is a 10, a 4, or another 6, and we've got ourselves a settle on that 8. In which case, it's pretty much over. Blue does wind up expanding, but again, it's just not that great of a spot. 6-2, it's like, yeah, okay. Like, does that really help him? He gets the ore there, but, his problem is more diversity. So Yeah, the 294 would have been pretty good for him. But ultimately, he needs the points. He needs to get over to that 5-4 spot if possible. And now he's in a problem because he needs a city too, and he doesn't have one. How is he going to get a city here? Very tough. Very, very tough. But Gray does get a city. So Gray is finally in a position to start doing something. But again, even though they have a city, what that really does for them, and again, I tend to think, now I don't disagree with their spot of the city. I think that's fine because 8 rolls, it's a free card. 5 rolls, assuming the other thing is not blocked, it's a free card. It is pretty astounding that this 7 has not rolled more this game. That the thing has been parked on that 5 for a good amount of the game. Ooh, and there we go. So this is huge. That 3 alone right there is a huge deal because that gives us our settle. And now we're 1 point away from winning the game. That's it. Just 1. And there's a 5, which is perfect. So, I mean, we're in great shape, right? Now, we have options too, which is the good part. We could try to win with a card. We only need 1, right? Only 1 VP. And no one has played like any dev cards whatsoever. So odds are there's a decent amount of them sitting in the deck waiting for us, right? Or we build a city, which, look at this. We got an 8. We're basically well on our way to doing that. All we need is a 1-6, and that's the game. That's it. 1-6. That is it. So let's see. Now, that's not to say we can't lose here, right? Purple needs to kind of get their act together. Purple needs to go up, go to the 12. They need to settle on there. And if they do, maybe they're at 13 as well, right? They get the ship. They build a settle up on that 12. They might have a victory point in hand, but they don't. What do? They build a city down there. I think that's fine. They get the point. And again, this is where I think that 3 settlement is a mistake. I really do. I think that 3 settlement's a mistake for them. Because again, it just didn't help them do anything, right? It's like, what good does it do? If anything, it kind of blocked them from getting up to the 12. Not ideal. So we tried to pull for the win there. Didn't happen. Do get the knight. Sometimes that's just the way to go. Pull for the win. See if you can't get it. We get the sheep. So we're right back into pull for the win mode, right? We can pull for the win here if we really want to. And what's blue looking to do? Another road for blue as they very, very slowly head up to this 4-5 spot, or just the 4 spot at this point. It doesn't really matter. One or the other. 9 doesn't do us any good. Does help blue out though. And again, poor Gray. I mean, Gray, they get their 6-4-2 spot in the middle, but again, they're just not that threatening without cards or without settlements or cities. Yeah. They're getting close though. They're getting close. 12. Probably our biggest threat at this point. Let's see. But again, liking our chances. I mean, all we need is an 8 and a 6 for the win. That's it. Or an 8 and a 3, or a 6 and a 3. Or what else do we need? I don't know. A couple of options. Yeah, 6 and an 8 definitely wins it. I think in my mind, I was also toying with the idea of maybe just going for the longest road. Because, that would have been an interesting idea for the longest road. Let's see, though. At this point, I think purple actually drops out here, if I recall. And, probably rightfully so. I think they see the writing on the wall. But it's not necessarily obvious that they would lose. But again, their problem is their setup. Now, if they did get a bunch of 5s and 9s, maybe they have a chance. Oh, and a 7 rolls for them. Yeah. Oh, that's actually the gray player who quits. So I think this was actually more of a connection thing than anything else at this point. And that is kind of the unfortunate part. Where does it go? And this is where Catan Universe and these server issues, because again, we have no way of knowing, did the guy actually quit or was it just the server being stupid? In a game like this where it's so close at the end, it's a bit of a bummer. Because you would have liked to know how things would have turned out if everybody had, if everyone was around, right? And all the resources went as they did. Yeah, because even here, like again, I don't think purple wins because I think they made a mistake building on the 3. I really do. Now they might have a victory point in there, so maybe we're really close. Maybe they're really close, but yeah, we'll see. It is interesting commentating on this game. Hope you guys have enjoyed this for the most part. If you haven't yet, please consider subscribing to the channel. I make daily Catan gameplay videos and upload them here to YouTube for your viewing pleasure. We do it on Catan Universe and on Colonists, Seafarers, and regular Catan. Yep, a little bit of a time thing here. All right, purple. And purple's gone. Yep, and that basically is the game at this point. Because without them around, there's really not much to do. Blue's not going to win. Blue's not going to win. We decided to go with that. And I think that's the right defensive move. Because really, purple's only way of achieving victory is to... Okay. And at that point, yeah, I think blue saw the writing was on the wall. Because we were just going to trade for the 2 ore and basically just sit around and wait for the win. So we probably had it the turn after that. We could have just pulled for it as well. But at that point, with the computers there, computers are stupid. So I wasn't really that worried, especially with that chip blocked. Yeah, so that's the game. Thanks for watching. See you next time.